Hello and welcome to MK Brands, the podcast where I, your host MK, take you on a magical journey through anime, manga, comics, and cartoons. So, remember when I did my Black Clover videos? You know, the one that kind of sent me on this podcasting journey where I ripped into and stripped him down, and then I also made a video where I rewrote Black Clover? Well, something came to my attention that I forgot completely, and it was the magic system. And for those of you being like, but Black Clover has a magic system, remember that one episode or chapter, I never read the manga, where, Yuno gets Belle and they show, and they explain the magic system? And I'm like, yeah, I remember that! But they never went anywhere with it. They never used it. So I think they kind of retconned it out of existence. And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to explain to you how I would write the magic system, or how I would write that magic system, using examples of actually good anime. I'm not saying Black Clover isn't good. I'm not saying that it's the best shonen, but I am saying that there is some flaws to the whole, the whole thing as a whole, to the show as a whole. And for the record, this is coming from someone who thinks Fairy Tail is much better than Naruto. So I would recommend, if you don't like what I'm going to talk about, just feel free to click off now. Alright, so where does this anime fail with its magic system? Well, for one, it explains the basic element system as its magic system. Basically, earth, air, water, and fire. Which is fine, don't get me wrong, but then they kind of, later in the show, they go everywhere with different magics. They have scale magic, dice magic, they got dark magic, they have paint magic, and I'm like, whoa. Slow down there, because, my chair is squeaky, because it's not bad, but I'm saying, if you're gonna have all these, magics, don't write in your magic system that you're not going to follow. I think a good example of, using a basic element system and still evolving off of that isn't Avatar: Last Airbender, but it's Demon Slayer, because all sword breathing types derive from a key element. For example, love breathing is derived from flame breathing. Mist breathing from, I don't remember where mist breathing is from, but you see how everything kind of folds off of each other, and it as long as you can trace something back to where it came from with a decent explanation, it makes sense. Because each, Hashira has a different style that derived from a previous, a Hashira. Or they make it themselves. Or they, evolve their, what they learn into something different. Because they use techniques and they adapt them. For example, Tanjiro, not to spoil the manga or the anime if you haven't seen it, but Tanjiro uses his dad's Kagura dance as a way to, it's a different evolution to flame breathing. I think Demon Slayer definitely did balance it out. And then we could also go the Fairy Tail route, because gosh dang it, I'm not gonna go one video without mentioning Fairy Tail until I make a video about Fairy Tail. But basically, Fairy Tail doesn't have a magic system, and its very small magic system is just Dragon Slayers. First, second, and third generations. First generation has Dragon Parent, second generation doesn't have Dragon Parent, they have a Lacrima Crystal in their back, and third generation has both Dragon Parent and Lacrima Crystal in their back. See? So it balances itself out. And I'm saying that it's a good thing that they don't have a magic system, a very strict magic system, because if they did, you couldn't have, Dragon Slayers and Celestial Spirits, because at that point, it's getting crazy. And whatever lore they put behind their magic system makes sense. For example, there's not a lot of Celestial Spirits, that's why Lucy is a key member of the plot, and so is Angel, I think that was her name. Oh. And that's why it's important. And whatever lore they put behind, the Celestial Spirits is freaking awesome. For example, a day in the spirit world is 3 months in the human world. There's a Celestial Spirit King. Celestial Spirits can go evil. There are 12 awesome Zodiacs, and then Zodiacs, which are the most powerful, and they have gold keys, and then one 13th one, Mysterious. I call her Mucus. I think her name is Ophiuchus, but I like to call her Mucus. I'm sorry if I'm spoiling some of Fairy Tail. Not a lot, but it's some little key moments. Nothing that, you know, should really bother you. Please go watch Fairy Tail. But what I'm saying is, these magic systems work because either their structure is followed or they don't have one, and whatever they do have as a structure really is super simple and super basic, and you can just go ham with everything else. So I'll draw a graph for what I'm trying to demonstrate with Fairy Tail. No, not Fairy Tail, Black Clover. I'll draw a graph and I'll put that over like the audio, and you'll get to see what I'm like visualizing. So we'll have the basic 4 elements: earth, water, air, fire. Okay, 4 basics, right? And then we'll have dark and then miscellaneous. We'll have 6 magic types, because as much as I would love to explain to you that Hunter x Hunter's magic system of power is good, it is so confusing and I cannot explain it. But I remember they had 6 categories to like Nen or whatever. So we're just gonna take the 6 categories thing, and it's also because that way I can sort things better. And I can explain things better. Okay, so the basic elements. Like I said before, those suckers, common and commoners, poor people, middle class, those people get, you know, the basic 4 elements. Why? Because, well, they need to make a living. They need stuff like fire to, you know, to be a blacksmith. They need water and like earth to like create crops. They need all of that to like sustain themselves. Whereas dark magic can be to those special few who are born with it. It can happen to anyone, and it is just something that you don't know about until you're like 15 and you go get your grimoire. That's when you find out you have dark magic. Your magic doesn't manifest till that age, or it manifests earlier. We're not even going to save it till 15. We're going to have it manifest at like birth. You'll be able to tell when someone is born with dark magic, or they use dark magic. Right? And it can happen to anyone. Doesn't matter who, doesn't matter their economic status, if their status at all, as long as, because they can just have it. It doesn't show up commonly. Now, one of my flaws with the system of the basic elements is, what about the Vermilions and Sylvas, as they have water and fire magic? Well, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I think that they would just work their way up, and they would just be like business empire, like have this empire like that runs through the whole kingdom, because they're like interconnected, right? They intermarry, because the Sylvas and Vermilions are cousins, and they can just have that whole thing, and bada bing, bada boom, they just have old money. They come from old money, but to the nobles with the miscellaneous magic, it's newer money, right? And then miscellaneous magic like compass, dice, paint goes to upper class. Even light magic and even world tree magic. That's why, you know, a lot of the magic knights have, you know, really, really, really bougie magics. And of course, you could also just have the rare pickings of like the commoners and the middle class who have, you know, who have like miscellaneous magic. That would explain like the Black Bulls and a lot of like the people in the other categories, because I think where I could work in the Black Bulls is they're all like commoners, right? They're all like they all came from like really bad backgrounds, and I think a lot of it could be because their magic type is rare, and is rare among commoners, so they thought it was a curse, right? But what about Vanessa? Because she's a Black Bull, but she's also a witch. Here's what I'm thinking. The witches don't really care about what type of magic you have. You could have the dumbest magic on earth, and they're still going to find a use for you, because you're a community together. Whereas, you know, the kingdoms don't really have that. And I think that would work better. And if we really wanted to, the Clover Kingdom could be the only kingdom that has such classism like that. Whereas the other kingdoms are just like, yeah, sure, you got compass magic, sick, you get to navigate, you know, sick, you have archery magic, sick, go help us like hunt down those boars, right? I think in a sense like the other kingdoms would be like, yeah, don't really worry about it, but then like, which would be funny because the Spade Kingdom is, and maybe like magic and other certain kingdoms like doesn't really pertain to like stuff like technological advancements. Take, you know, the Spade Kingdom for example. They have they have a lot of issues, but a lot of it is mechanical engineering rather than magic type. And I think that'd be good because we could see how other kingdoms deal with the whole thing of magic, and then we could see how it compares to the Clover Kingdom. But what about anti-magic? Well, anti-magic, from what I can reasonably understand, is it's not magic. It's anti-magic. It is the antithesis to magic. That's why Asta has it. That's why it's possessed by the devil, because it isn't magic. It is the complete opposite. Because, in theory, it is the opposite. And so that's why, you know, it's not even rare. It's just basically unheard of. Because, you know, it doesn't exist. It is so rare that, you know, in the history of magic's existence, it's only been seen, like, what? In Asta and, like, maybe another person, but mainly Asta. That's why, because and I think that's where I thought the hardest about this, because I was like, where could I put, like, Asta's magic? But that's when you realize it's not real magic, it's anti-magic, because Asta doesn't have magic. He doesn't truly have magic, right? And if we really, really wanted to, we could have a sort of curse system, or certain magics like Asta's mother's magic isn't magic, it's considered a curse, which are even rarer, but I'm not going to go there because I think that's just evolving too much. It's going too deep into everything. And so I think, so after putting that in place, it slots, you know, Scale Man, Scale Guy, or, you know, the one with the balancing magic, that could slot that could slot his family into position of high power, because they could basically be the whole court system. That whole family just controls the court system because they have the magic to do that. And, you know, I'm not really normally a type of person to be like, heh, magic systems, ooh, but oh, I hated how I said that. But I think it would be an interesting angle to explore theoretically. Right? My dog is walking in the background. I don't know if you can hear his feet tapping on the floor. Did you jump into the bed? Are you comfortable? Yeah, you're gonna take a nap? Alright. But it also puts them in a position of, my thought. I got distracted by my dog. Shoot. Oh no, I forgot my point. Oh. Well, I'm just gonna start a new point. Sorry if my last thought cut off. I don't know anymore. But it would basically be like, it would put the story, like, you don't have to have a magic system, but if you set up a magic system, I want you to go through with it, or just don't have one. That's why, again, I reference, like, Fairy Tail and Demon Slayer, because, like, technically Demon Slayer, would you even count that as magic? I would slot it into magic, but at the same time I wouldn't. It's a very neutral stance. But even something like Hunter x Hunter, the power system is really, really weird, and it's really hard to explain because no one can explain it. And I think that's what's good about it. But at the same time, you also need to have something that's easy to understand, like Avatar: The Last Airbender. I know that show's technically made for children, but it is a good show, and I think that it has such a good cultural relevance, especially in the way you see subcategories of like the basic 4 elements. Metal bending is earth bending, sand bending is earth bending, blood bending is water bending. You can make ice chunks. You know, I don't know, you can do it with air. But fire bending, you got freaking lightning, man. It is insane how simple it is to write a magic system, but how hard it is to execute it properly. And I cannot believe I freaking, like, let the idea of like, Black Clover's magic system, like, go out, like, the back of my brain when I was writing it. And I knew for a while I would not be happy if I never, I never addressed this, because it would just sit with me forever and I would never have the chance to explain it properly. But now I'm here, explaining my idea and explaining my thoughts and explaining how a magic system can be good even if it's simple. So I would like to thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is on the description, or in the description, I should say. And feel free to read my comic Soda Light up on Webtoon. Again, that will be linked in the description. I find updates are gonna be slow for Soda Light for a while because I'm doing stuff. But I'm currently working on one, and I really want to have it ready by some point next week or the week after that. I have to draw 1,000,000 books, so we'll see how well that goes. I would like to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you guys have an amazing evening.